Hello, today I'm going to take bracelet number 70595 from friendshipbracelets.net and I'm going to make it fit inside the space that I want it to by editing it and making it basically my own pattern and show you guys how I did that so that you can do this yourself. And yeah, let's roll that intro. Hello and welcome, this is Kevin, also known as AKAAWOL, and today we are going to start with this graph paper of mine that has already been sized down perfectly to a bracelet that I've already made before, so I know that it's going to work. And we're going to use this pattern here, which is number 70595 from friendshipbracelets.net. Friendshipbracelets.net, yes. And what I need first is I need to take this part here, copy it, and bring it over to this. Now, you may recognize this pattern as one I was just playing with yesterday, actually. And you would be right. This is the same one. My thought is that if we can change this up a little bit, we can actually make this a little bit more interesting and fit our bracelet exactly. So hang on, give me a second while I kind of scale this little thing here up. Just make this easier to see. Now last time we tried to center the interesting area right in the middle of the bracelet, but this time I am going to start it at the top. So first, what I figure is what makes this bracelet really interesting is this whole top area up here. Right? This between the white dot and this white dot. This other little X thing is sort of just filling space, right? So we're going to start with the dark blue, because as you know, I don't fill in the squares with black because that's what the outer color is, right? So, whoops, we need to anchor the layer. There. So now this is anchored to the other one. It'll let me do what I need to do. So, this black goes all the way out to the edge. And then this one is 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Doesn't go nearly as far. So for the white, we'll go with the yellow again. Again, it's just better that it doesn't look like the background color. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh wait, that's fine. There's the 4. These blacks overlap. 2, 3, 4. And then this comes out. See, this little half diamonds really bother me. Let's make this easier. Let's grab this purple here. This one goes for 3 squares. Ah, so the blue does come down 1 more. Okay. The lighter pink is here. The brighter pink is there. This comes down here. So it's in the center one, then it's 1, 2, 3. And then this bright pink makes a diamond. So there's the center of that. Alright. Filling the rest of this in should be a whole lot easier. You just have to put things where they go. Alright. This dark goes all the way down like that. And here's where the white goes. So you can see it's relatively easy at this point to just sort of map out the whole design. Like seriously, my biggest thing here is in making sure I get the right counts, because sometimes these things are a little bit confusing. So then the blue does this. And last time we didn't have to fill in quite as much because we were right at the center, and so that allowed me to kind of skip some of the filling in part because I just let the copy paste method fill it in for me. So and you can see I'm kind of just basically copying from the one up above because this shape is symmetrical. That makes it sort of easy. And of course I am going to use the whole copying and pasting, so I only have to do one of these sides before we get to the other part. So basically what I want to do is I want to have the better part of this design to be my pattern, but I can't fit exactly 3 of these in one bracelet, so it would be a little bit off. So we're starting at the very top, and you can see here already is the center. Now the way that this kind of goes off in an X, it would be kind of close. You can see, like if we followed these ones down, there'd be just a little gap in the inside. So we'll see when we get to that what we need to do. But what we really need right now is to know exactly which color all of the strings are that come to this point, because that's how we're going to make the decision on what is going to happen. So we know that this dark blue is running like this. That's an easy one to fill in, as well as this dark blue. And obviously I can just follow this all the way up. And it does appear that we are using a lot more of the dark blue than the other colors. So if there's a possibility of kind of balancing that out with the center area, that might be really helpful, because we don't want it to be a case of running out of string before the bracelet's done, because that's obviously something that can happen. So I'm working these other blues. Mind you, I don't really memorize my patterns per se. So rather than trying to figure out how that other blue goes, let's just get this yellow. And again, this is just filling in because the white, if you make it the same color as the background, it makes it really difficult to see if you missed a spot, right? Like this light blue, if you use this as one of your colors, it will make later on trying to make sure that you've got everything connecting. It'll make it really, really hard to see if that's happening or not. This purple obviously goes up. It could come from nowhere else, seeing as how all of these were already all completely taken. This pink has to go this way for this to happen. And then obviously that has to come out this way. this pink. Comes out up here. And the way that we'll know that we have it right is all of the colors that are at the top up here will match with the ones at the bottom. So and somehow I managed to paint one of my edges pink, so let's just fix that because that's just weird. Alright. And again, one of the things about doing this, if you're doing this yourself, you can look at how the pattern is over here, or you can just work out the ones that are the easiest to start with, and then the rest will pretty much fill itself in for you. And that's one thing, you know, about being able to make your own patterns like this is the other, like even friendshipbracelets.net doesn't really make for making big changes like what we're doing here today, because this is going to be like a pretty dramatic change of the pattern itself. We're going for something completely new and different. So you can see I've kind of jumped away from doing the pinks and stuff because it was a little bit questionable as to where things were going, and it just kind of makes sense to take a step back. No, this is pretty obvious. There's only one line through here, and it's the blue, and that blue needs to show up in that center point. So that's pretty easy. And then I already did the other side of this. Let's get this done. Oops. A little bit too much in there. Alright, so now we've got the dark one in place. That comes out here. Perfect. So it should be blue, yellow, blue, and dark. Blue, yellow, blue, and dark. So we got those right. This pink comes out next. And then let's see. This yellow goes to there. This one goes to there. And you can see this really hasn't taken us that long. And if you're really interested in altering out patterns and trying something crazy, you could save this at this point and come back and try it a different way later, right? Or maybe save just a little bit later from this. Bright pink comes out this way. Dark blue. All right, just double checking here. We don't have any of the light blues in there, so whoops, we did miss one right there. See how spotting the ones that are missed is really easy when you use like really bold colors instead. So there's all that. Now, that's our halfway point. So what we can do is we can bring this Control C, Control V, and then this flipping tool. And then we can use the moving tool. Line this up down at the bottom. Use your arrow keys to get it lined up perfectly. And then we can anchor the layer. So this is the bracelet that we have so far. We have two of the two ends are looking really, really cool. We just have to kind of concentrate on what are we going to do in the middle. Now, if you see here what they did in the middle, they have this sort of X thing. But let's see what happens if we bring the blue all the way down. See that? It doesn't come all the way to the middle, so there's going to be a gap in between there. So maybe we can kind of play with that a little bit. Let's back these off a little. Let's bring this one down. All right. And then we have this yellow. Right. Now can you see how this is, how I'm working this out? Basically, I can imagine that my string comes down and turns. So as long as I've got, you know, a way that I know that the color can reach there, then I'm pretty good to go. And this is going to give us kind of a different enclosed little box in the middle. Again, I'm just kind of trying to reimagine this in a way. Mind you, anything that you do that connects this top half to the bottom half, that's legit. That's all we're trying to do, is we're trying to build the pattern to fit within this space. And so yeah, this could go any number of ways. I would encourage you to try maybe seeing if you find something a little bit different. Maybe if you use a thinner string, the bracelet itself is even longer, and you can fit something else in the middle of all of this. So that would be kind of cool. So now the trick is to see where all of our colors are at our new point. And I think, because we're just trying to come down to this center line, that's a pretty good look right there. You can really go hard on the blue-white thing, huh? So that to there. Now this blue. And again, I could actually mimic everything down here, but I can do the whole control paste thing again. So now it comes down to what colors do we want out there. So we have, basically I would say we have two choices of what comes out here, right? And it would be this light pink or this bright pink. And why I say that is, yes, you could use the darker one, but it's going to miss that first square. And I think that kind of really throws the whole balance off. I hope you guys agree. The bright pink was in the center and very seldomly used. So I think we're going to do that one. All right, this is an easy, how do you get it to go from one space to the other? Yeah. So now we can see where the lighter pink goes. That goes to there. Let's look from the other side. And see, like when it comes to here, it came to the yellow, it can only go this direction, right? Because the yellow already did its thing. All right, it's about how little choice the remaining strings have to get through it. This one already made the direction, right? So since it's going off to the right, this color will go off to the left. When it gets to here, that blue did a little zigzag, so now it has to come out this way. That's the remaining of the string. So you can see, once we got the overall general gist of the bracelet design, finding the rest of it was relatively simple. So what I'm going to do again is I'm going to grab this whole top half, and Control C, Control V. I'm going to flip it, grab the moving tool, bring it in kind of nice and close, use my arrow key to align it, and then anchor layer. And as you can see, we end up with a very interesting bracelet. Even the center has now become something way more dramatic. We still have the cool shape from the original bracelet, but we've turned it into something just completely different in our own. This bracelet will be, the pattern itself will be available over on my website, AKAAWOL.com. I would invite you to take a look at the different ones. I would say that doing this is intermediate. This is not super advanced because it's not that complicated. So hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you have an idea of how you can alter and make your own patterns. And yeah, thank you for hanging out with me this long. I really do appreciate it. I know these videos kind of go a little bit long, and I do appreciate that a whole lot that you're here. So if you haven't already, come join me over on Patreon to help support this channel. That would be a great help. And as always, don't get your strings in a bunch.